I think that the solution to the housing crisis, the loneliness epidemic, and the cost of living crisis is actually at home with mum. No, I'm serious. I reckon it's at home with mum. Across Australia, people are moving out, they're working longer hours to be able to afford it, and they're feeling really, really lonely. We keep trying to find new ways of living, but I think the best way isn't new at all. I actually think it's quite ancient. My work as a speaker and facilitator involves making good people great. I have 3 degrees, which I think is enough, and I live with my wife, but I also live with my father-in-law, my mother-in-law, my brother-in-law, and a 45-kilogram German Shepherd who does not understand personal space. And you're probably wondering, you live with your in-laws? How does that work? Well, my wife and I have figured out a system. We figured it actually takes about 1 week for one family to get slightly tired and annoyed of us, and about the same amount of time for the other family to start missing us. So we actually swap between both my mum and my brother's place and my wife's parents. I know what you're probably going to say. Moving back and forth between houses, week on week, that sounds exhausting. Yeah, it is. It's actually quite exhausting. But look, our homes are full of life, full of overlapping conversations and the daily dance of different routines. And once we found a rhythm, we found something that works. At the start of 2024, I was in what I thought was my dream job. 2 weeks in, I get called into a Zoom meeting with my 2 bosses. 2 bosses, 2 polite smiles, 1 layoff. They had no idea that in 3 days' time, I was going to get down on one knee and propose. So there I was, unemployed, uncertain, and about to ask the woman that I love to spend the rest of her life with me. I proposed anyway. She said yes. And as we planned our future together, one question kept on coming up. Do we move out and start fresh? Or do we choose to stay close to family and do we build together? We chose together. And that single decision changed everything. We realized that by sharing a household, not only do we share a roof, but we share resources. Imagine this. Imagine 5 incomes for one household. All of a sudden, a mortgage doesn't seem so tough. A layoff doesn't feel as heavy. And it's more than just that. You know, we buy groceries in bulk. Costco was not made for couples, right? We buy groceries in bulk. We share the cooking. We share the cleaning, right? We do a whole bunch of other stuff. And it's like, you know, houses today, they're getting smaller. Land sizes are shrinking. High-rise apartments are going up everywhere, or as my wife likes to call them, glorified shoeboxes. And we're taught to each own our own little box. But what happens when those boxes just keep getting smaller and smaller and smaller? Generational living, or in what my culture we call a joint family, something that Eastern cultures have been doing for generations, gives you back that space that modern living is trying to take away. And it's more than just space. It's support and it's community. You've probably heard of the saying, it takes a village to raise a child. Well, when you live together, that village is right there. Grandparents, aunties, uncles, siblings, they all become part of that safety net. Children end up surrounded by stories, wisdom, and care that does not come from a screen. And this type of lifestyle, it's life-changing for new families. Research shows that when women receive consistent support after birth, rates of postpartum depression dramatically decreases. Like significantly. And we're talking about shared late night feeding, right? And everything else that happens around that. You're talking about, you know, when the kids grow up eventually, right? Shared pickups and shared drop-offs. Like when we choose generational living, when we choose to stay together and not move out, you're not only saving money, you're also protecting mental health and you're strengthening families. We are sold this idea of independence. Move out, make it on your own, prove that you can do it all. But if we're really honest about it, we're working harder than ever to live in smaller homes and pay bigger bills. Independence sounds like freedom, but for a lot of us, it feels a lot more like pressure. And generational living isn't about going backwards. It's about really questioning, hey, what does progress actually look like here? And progress does not have to look like going at it alone in isolation. Generational living is one of the most sustainable and human systems we have ever had. It makes psychological sense, economic sense, emotional sense. It just makes sense. And look, it's not easy, right? But neither is paying $600-700 a week in rent, right? It takes patience, it takes consistency, it takes compromise, and yes, it takes a really big deep breath when someone's using all the hot water. But in a world that tells you to go at it alone, maybe the best thing we can do is go at it together. And so the next time you feel like, oh, you know what, I have to do everything on my own by myself, remember this: the solution to our modern problems, loneliness, cost of living, housing, just might be in the oldest type of home. I think the future of living isn't living alone. I think it's living together. Thank you.